Hello everyone, I am Barendipidus and welcome back to Pyre. We have released Rookie and I'm quite sure the next one I will release is Jodariel. It just seems fitting to have the first three people released first, right? One thing I do remember though, from this plan thing, I still need an additional exile here. So, yeah. Why is there always a question mark here? Alright. So where's this whole like how important you are to the plan thing? I don't really understand where I could find that because didn't Sandalwood say something about that? I don't know. Here we go. You once again find yourself amidst the quiet nooks of Moonlight Alcove. Here you can await the time until the stars deign to shine for you again. Bide your time. We have returned to a place of respite. Please make yourselves comfortable, such as you can. We are at the mercy of the stars, but I expect they shall shine bright again in time. Hold on, if they're in the downside, which is like down, how can they see the stars? Is this just a giant pit or something? Or maybe it's just like the stars of the downside. I don't know. As for me, I shall return by then, for there is something I must do. What are these errands you're doing, Wolfred Sandalwood? I don't know what Wolfred's doing, but whatever. There, from atop the sacred mountain, you gaze down into the abyss that is the downside. You wonder when the stars shall align themselves once more. There, upon the sacred mountain, you and your companions once more await the night the stars begin to shine again. The plan of which you are all a part is set in motion. The Commonwealth, a nation that stood almost for 1,000 years, is in turmoil. If your companions return there through the liberation rites, what sort of place shall they be coming back to? Many moons pass. One evening, amid a downpour with no interest whatsoever in relenting, Wolfred requests everybody to convene. You understand he has an announcement of some sort. Soon everyone is assembled, and Wolfred regards the camp. Regards the group. Everyone, there is an aspect of our plan which I have not talked about with you in length. Look around at your companions. What do you see in them? He lets the question hang for a moment in the air. I'll tell you what I see in all of you. In all of us. I see in all of us a living vision of the 8 scribes themselves, each one among them hailing from the different tribes which later formed our Commonwealth. My observation does not come from pompousness, I think. Rather, I believe the scribes themselves desired, or shall I say desire, such a course. Together, they created all this ceremony of which we're now a part. The exiles, liberated through their rites, went on to found the Commonwealth, based on their values and their teachings. Thus, an instrumental aspect of our plan is to embody the spirit and the culture from which the Commonwealth arose so many centuries ago. That way, when we are all united on the other side in solidarity, the people all shall see that we reflect the values they yet cherish in their hearts, not merely our own. Anyway, we are still missing one key representative, on behalf of Molten Melith, and I happen to know a certain bog dweller who I think shall fit the part most splendidly indeed. He motions for someone to approach. Yeah, that's what I thought. A certain bog dweller slithers forward. You recognize her straight away. It is my pleasure to introduce you to a dear friend of mine whom I believe you've met. Welcome to the Night Wings, Bertrude. The bog dweller called Big Bertrude utters something guttural by way of greeting. We are to understand that ye require further aid from us. Yes, dear Bertrude, the time has come. Bertrude here is far and away the most accomplished alchemist whom I've ever met. You soon will find that she knows much about the rites as well. Bertrude looks you and your fellow exiles each in turn. We frighten ye, apparent. Everyone is silent as Bertrude searches their expressions. Then tremble, small ones, and hold well thy tongues, lest we remove them. She takes her leave without another word. Please excuse Bertrude's blunt behavior. I guarantee she shall more than make up for it. Everyone disperses. It seems now that the ranks of the Night Wings are complete. Bertrude joined the group. You sense her powerful presence. Welcome her aboard. Now then, my boy, perhaps you notice that the stars are bright once more up there behind these stubborn rains, meaning it is time we get back to business. Indeed, once more several stars shine bright within the cold and storming sky. The stars themselves await the will of the Night Wings. Choose your path towards salvation. Let's see here. 3 rides into the next liberation. Let's see. Who haven't we fought in a while? We've already fought the Withdrawn recently. We haven't fought the Essence, the Pyre Hearts, or the Dissidents. Or I guess the Templars recently. How about the Pyre Hearts? If we can. We'll see. Haven't fought them in a while either. You know what? Let's do this one. Is this night to understand that we shall soon confront Sir Deluge and the Pyre Hearts once more? Then this is to be a most exciting time. This night's one-time commanding officer, imagine, if you will, a worm without the slightest trace of bravery. Sir Gilman then recants his tale of Sir Deluge's past and how it is that they wound up together in the downside. Sir Deluge, a worm knight of the Sea Dominion and former ally of Sir Gilman, he lacks the sort of courage for which his kind is known, yet somehow leads the Pyre Hearts anyway. Some worms born under the Sea Dominion's waters sought life's meaning on dry land. The Commonwealth recognized their chivalrous traditions and soon put them to use. Sir Deluge was just another bit of frontline fodder in the war against the High Wing remnants. Yet time and again he distinguished himself for one simple reason. He would not die. His unusual instinct for self-preservation kept him safe from many battles, and over time he was repeatedly promoted for lack of any real competition. Then, in the Battle of the Spiral Sanctum, when retreat certainly was not an option, Sir Deluge retreated anyway. This is a breaking point, and he at last was sentenced into exile. In the downside he sought water, where he made contact with Sir Gilman and other members of his kind. They all saluted him as their superior. The other knights had little choice but to respect his rank. As to Pyre Hearts, they conduct the rites in the name of their great hero, the Under King Horus, while adhering to their strict code. This knight shall not have failed quite so miserably at the battle of the Spire Sanctum, had his entire regiment not turned in disarray after Sir Deluge fled. Perhaps by confronting his former commander, this knight's own honour may be regained in part. For now, however, this knight must beg your leave. You say good night to Sir Gilman in turn. There is no time to make flight preparations now, though in the morning you'll press on once again. You find Big Bertrude looking about the black wagon in a disapproving way. She fixes her gaze on you. Her expression does not change. Such a clutter added to this wagon since we looked upon it last. Unsightly. We remember thee from our abode in Flagging Hands. Then thou must be the reading one to whom Sandalwood referred. She moves in close, studying you. You recall that the mere touch of a bog crone of the southern bogs can induce paralysis or worse. That one such as thee can extract meaning from that tome, to the feat we wish to witness for ourselves. Thy flesh has seen but the smallest fraction of the years which ours withstood, and yet we are expected to believe that thou canst understand the Book of Rites. Then she backs away, for someone else has joined you. Hail, Bertrude, madame. Is everything to your liking at this time, or is there something more which you require? We have been unable to locate a supply of rotworm gizzard extract among thy belongings. Other than that, we shall not know no complaint at present. It is possible that Wolfred has a small supply among his possessions here. If you would care to accompany me, he may yet procure some. That would be agreeable with us. Then, after you, madam. As they depart, you think you see the lone minstrel nod his head your way. Bertrude's decks. Unusual etched cards depicting the Greater Titans, probably for curses and enchantments. Here we go. You rise early that morning, though Bertrude is already awake. She scowls at you. Good morning, Rita. Bertrude, I trust your stay has been not too uncomfortable. Nay, Sandalwood. The comforts of this place are not for us. Fly us forth from here to lower ground. Let us get on with all of this. The reader here shall do so, once the group is ready. I thank you for your patience. Soaring far above Sclorian shore, you notice Pamela gazing down at the frozen cliffs below. That darned place down there. I like it least of all. I think, among everywhere we've been, I'm thankful there's been no reason to return. Reminds me of my home is all. The Nightwing remnants, we all grew accustomed to the thinner air amid the cliffs that breaches the clouds above your commonwealth. But it was not the nicest place. Little wonder that my sisters settled for a rather warmer base of operation in this land, there by the nest of Trieste. Anyway, I'm pleased to have to spend as little time as possible near here. Let's fly on by and go about our business. The forbidding cairn of Haub lies below. Not many exiles see fit to cross beyond it. Some fear that the listless remains of Shaq's six shoulders shall snatch them up if they attempt to cross. Others simply do not want to pass through to Flagging Hands. Few know its true significance as we do, although your adversaries, the Pyre should be on their way there now. Soon you shall confront them once again. You touch down in the heart of Jomura Valley, where first you face the fate and the dissidents. You briefly wonder where they might be now and how they fare. You now have a little time before having to set forth by land. Volfred is poring over a copy of the Book of Rites as you approach. He looks up at you and smiles. The road to freedom, written in a book that hardly anyone believes exists, and fewer still can read and comprehend. Sometimes I marvel how absurd all of this is, my boy. Tell me something, though. I've spent so much time considering the book, but known so few with whom I could discuss it in such detail. You've had some time to turn through it by now, so what do you think? Worth all the fuss? Honestly, I find it rather interesting. I just don't want to spend, there's a lot to read there, and I certainly do want to read more of it later. But what I have read so far, I find fascinating. I love good world building. You tell Volfred the book has fascinated you, and that you've never seen anything quite like it. He nods slowly as you describe your experience with it. I sense the sentiment. To have in your possession a genuine artifact from a forgotten time. How much of it is exactly true and how much of it is described to retelling of events, I find it endlessly fascinating to consider, I must admit. He puts away his copy of the book with care. It is amazing that these volumes have survived for all this time, I think. Whatever they are made of has withstood the ravaging effects of time quite well. And the ideas there contained, they remain rather provocative as well. To think that the Commonwealth disavows the existence of this book, despite official recognition of the 8 scribes. Although the reasons why are in there, written plain. How fascinating that its secrets have been kept for all this time. Anyway, you'll have to excuse me for my extracurricular interest in its teachings. I used to teach a version of its history. To have access to the real thing has brought me some small pleasure. Let us be certain to preserve these volumes for whomever shall be next to use them. He turns his attention to other matters and bids you a good afternoon. There's still more pages I haven't, quote-unquote, read. Oh, here we go. Kind of want to get rid of the... Okay, there we go. Cool. Here we are. You take some of the afternoon to survey the area with Sir Gilman. You observe many curs off in the distance, driven half wild from the heat. Alas, that this night's four-legged friends do suffer so in these environs. There is nothing you can do for the creatures. The sight of them makes you all too eager to return to the wagon and immerse yourself in your vocations. I could level up Big Bertrude, but I just think these might be better, possibly. There we are. And so we go. Cairn of Haub. Sir Gilman is training intently when you approach. Master Reader! This knight was so engulfed in memories of the Sea Dominion that he failed to detect your stealthy advance on his position. Splendidly done! This knight would have been vanquished by you easily. This knight is fortunate to have you as an ally, rather than a mortal foe. His kind routinely clambers from the depths of the Sea Dominion to seek further glory, and perhaps a slightly longer life expectancy within your commonwealth. Oh gosh, my mother's calling me. One moment, please.